BMW Championship this week. We've got the top 50 in the FedEx Cup standings, teeing it up at Elevation in Colorado. Get ready for some 400-yard drives and some birdies. Let's go. What up, everybody? It's your boy DFS Up North, aka Josh Thomas, here with another 555 PGA podcast brought to you by the fine folks at DFS Army. Kevin, Tex, Uppers Lad, all the boys over there are getting ready for the NFL season, and I am too, right? So we've only got 2 more of these PGA 555 videos before we get into the NFL season, and PGA takes a little bit of a break. It doesn't really take a break. Maybe I'll do a video for like the President's Cup or something like that. But once the playoffs end here next week at Eastlake, we are into full NFL mode. And if you are looking to get involved, right? You want to get involved with DFS Army, NFL. Let's go, people. We've got you covered here at DFS Army. Let me get this up for y'all right now. Right? We got the BMW Championship this week, but football is back. Are you ready to dominate? Okay. If you use the code NFL 2024, you get the whole season for $224.99, which is, gosh, I'm bad at math, but about $75 off, which is just a wild deal. Or if you want to get access to everything, typically until you use that code Up North, that gets you 10% off for life. But you use the code VIP 2024, you get everything for $69.99. Please join us. And here's the deal. I think we crush. I think our content is great. But what I love about DFS Army the most is that we help you make the best decisions to build lineups, things like that. Whatever type of player you are, you're a cash guy, you're an MME guy, you want to use the optimizer, you're more of like a single entry guy. Like, what we do best at DFS Army is that we don't just give you the data. Obviously, the data is there. Like, the cheat sheets are there. I'm going to tell you who I like, who I don't like. Kev's doing the same thing, whatever, right? But, okay, we teach you contest selection. We teach you lineup construction. We do all of those things within the Discord, right? Or VIP podcast or things like that, right? So I think it's the best value in the industry. We see people leave, they're always coming back, all right? And they come back and go, hey, man, well, it doesn't get any better than this. So again, I can't imagine ever working anywhere else. You know, you see people in and out of the industry. Oh, I'm going to go to this, that. I'm like, I'm here. DFS Army for life. Let's go. Because we just do such a fantastic job here. And again, I couldn't be prouder to be a part of the DFS Army family. So I think we're going on like 5 or 6 years now. I ain't going anywhere. This is my place. I love it here. And really a family. And that slogan line up there, turning average Joes into DFS pros, happens all the time here. So get ready. NFL is where we crush every single year. And let's get into it. So 555, right? So the 555 model can be 5 key stats, 5 favorite plays, and 5 low-owned GPP punts. Again, we haven't even talked about it yet, but this week, PGA not PG. Golly, what am I doing here? BMW Championship. And we are in Colorado. Right? When's the last time the PGA Tour has gone to Colorado? I feel like it has been a long time. So we are at let me just bring this tournament fact sheet up here, but we are in Colorado. And we are playing the BMW Championship at Castle Pines Golf Club. All right. We have not. Castle Pines is a PGA Tour, a former host. They used to host a Stableford event there back in the early 2000s. We haven't played there. The PGA Tour hasn't played there since 2006. And I think the only guy in the field who could have potentially played there in 2006 is Adam Scott, but he did not play in that event. Maybe Jason Day. I'm trying to remember back that far. Man, that was a long time ago. But we have seen this course get updated a little bit. It is a Jack Nicklaus design. And it's a sort of a fun test. We call it the Augusta, or their idea is that this is the Augusta of the West. And when you watch the flyover, I posted it in our Discord the other week. Jim Nance actually is the voiceover for it, which is kind of cool. You can see some of those Augusta type characteristics right? The biggest difference, I think, is that you can get in trouble off the tee. It's very tough to get in trouble off the tee because the pine straw, things like that at Augusta. But if you are wayward off the tee, you are going to have some issues here. So we do see it's obviously at elevation. So we're going to see 400-yard drives this week, which is wild to think about. But Rory's hitting it 400 easy. Okay. So it does like the number. What do we got? I don't even know what the actual number is on it. 8,130 yards, which would actually be the longest course ever played in PGA Tour history. It's not going to play that long. It's going to play like a 7,300-yard course just because of the elevation change. So guys are going to have to are potentially going to struggle with that. Your 8-iron's going 20 yards further or 15 yards further, right? So clubbing up and changing things is going to be a little bit of an issue here. Maybe there might be some history for guys who have played a lot of elevation. So you look at a guy like a Matt Fitzpatrick, who's won a couple of times at Grand Sur. We'll talk about him later on here. But guys who have maybe had success at events like this. Billy Horschel won at Cherry Hills a couple years ago at elevation. So it is different golf, right? This is top 50. Top 30 move on to East Lake next week, which is the worst event of the year. I hate it with the weird starting prices and startings. It's stupid, but hey, we'll cover it. We'll do it. But 20 guys get cut this week. There is some motivation on the line for some of these guys, especially from the international team, to try to make the President's Cup. So guys like Adam Hadwin, even like an Austin Eckroat, there might be a little bit of extra motivation. We talked about how this is a Jack Nicklaus design. One guy that has had a ton of success at Jack Nicklaus courses over the course of his career, Patrick Cantlay. We were on him last week. Tough opening round, but finished pretty strong. I do think that this course is going to play soft. All right. I think that it is going to be a bit of a birdie fest. I know that the Vegas line, as my boy Kanger told me, was about -23 for a winning score. I wouldn't even be surprised if it was more than that. I think that it's going to be fairly soft. And when courses are fairly soft, they end up being ball striker paradises, right? So guys can really fire at these pins. So guys who are great strokes gain approach, things like that, are who we really want to target this week. And then finally, we really do need to look at game theory this week. One thing that I think we do a pretty good job on is ownership projections. And we need to look at who is going to be, lower on where can we pivot, right? Because all 50 of these guys can win. I'd say probably 25 of these guys can, all 50 of these guys can play. I'd say probably 25 of these guys can win. So if we have an elite level player who is going to be underowned, I think that's a great GPP option, especially in MME trying to get over the field on those places. I don't hate the idea of taking a stand on somebody so for me this week, that stand is probably going to be on Scotty Scheffler unless our ownership projections come in too low. All right. Just because I think that you can get Xander at 1,300. Now, that being said, we talk about ownership. Xander at 1,300 cheaper or 1,200 cheaper or whatever he is. That's going to be a high owned play, right? So you got to find a way to get different somewhere else. All right. So there's a lot of game theory involved in weeks like this. I will say Sky Hook, who I believe is at Establish the Run now, really sharp guy. He showed that the sort of overall ownership in these no cut smaller field events, we're looking for like about 60 to 100 in your ownership. And that's something that we can control in the optimizer here at our domination station at DFS Army. So again, if you're not a DFS Army VIP, get involved and you can literally build all your lineups in that like prime range. All right. So favorite plays, talked about Schauffele, right? Like he's just too cheap. I'll eat the ownership all day. I'll have 50% Xander this week. No question. All right. We talk about the top end guys. One person who I think is maybe going to go a little bit overlooked is Colin Morikawa. All right. I don't mind getting in there. Now, that being said, it is very hard lineup construction wise to fit in. I got all these guys are priced 9,500 and above or 9,600 and above. It is going to be hard for you to get two of them. The sub 7K list this week is not great. Now, there are a couple of guys that I really like. Because of that, those guys are going to get massive ownership, at least from me. So I think it's difficult, but you can get it. It's tough though. All right, Morikawa, I think is an excellent play this week. Patrick Cantlay, we talk about the Nicklaus course history. He had a tough opening round last week. Really came back, finished in the top 10 last week. Tony Finau, core play, right back to it. Utah guy, should be used to playing at elevation. Love him here. Okay, and then Tommy Ladd. So Tommy Ladd last week, Tommy Fleetwood, best ball striking event of his career and had the worst putting statistics of his career as well, basically. So a big disparity. I think that he puts it together a little bit this week, and I just don't think that putting is going to be as big of an issue this week. One of the things that they do here is they have like these big green complexes, but they have like little mini greens within the greens. So they're not going to have like a ton of long putts. All right. And there's not going to be actually a ton of break in a lot of these putts either. So it is interesting to play a guy like Tommy, who maybe is not the world's best putter. We look at the favorite punts this week. I love Bobby Mack. Big lefty. There are some greens here that you can run it up on. It's not like link style by any means, but I do think that this course really should suit Bobby Mack's game. If it's an Augusta comp, there's another one. He plays well there. So I love him this week. Eric Cole is a guy that has been playing outstanding golf that people are going to be off because of his perception. Like, he's just this skinny little guy. He's this perception that he doesn't hit it, but he averages 300 off the tee. So I have no problem going to Eric Cole this week, 6,500. He's one of those sub 7K guys that I will be well over the field on. Max Greiserman, back-to-back runner-ups. Again, another guy like Cantlay who started really poorly last week and really finished strong. Love him here. Taylor Pendrith, the distance, like off the tee, like he is going to tear this course apart. His short game's been much improved this year. I like him to make it to East Lake this week too. And then Matt Fitzpatrick. We talked about Kranster, so the Omega European Masters in the Alps. Very used to playing at elevation, or has had a lot of success at it. The big issue with Matt Fitzpatrick this week, I'd really considered him for a core play for our cheat sheets. Those of you guys who don't know, I cover the whole field in our cheat sheets, and I give you guys some, my anticipated exposures or what I would suggest, and guys that I love. Again, you got to be a DFS Army VIP to get that. But I talked about Fitz. I really considered him because of that history at elevation, but his ball striking has just been so atrocious. So it's a little more volatile than I would like. But again, I think a great GPP play. And if he lays on the green like this to make some putts, we'll be in good shape. All right. So those are my 5 favorite punts, my 5 favorite plays, and 5 key stats, the 555 PGA podcast. Again, remember, if you are not a DFS Army VIP, become one. Use that code NFL 2024. Use that code VIP 2024 and get involved, people. Let's go. Have a great week. I will see you right back here for the Tour Championship next week. Good luck, everybody. Green screens.